ridiculous.
Hi, you're watching Short Class Media. My name is Rob Davidson.
I'm Carrie Heath.
I'm Allan Heath.
This is Hourglass, where we talk about nerdy, artsy, pop culture things. Today we're going to be talking about traveling. And this time of year, a lot of people are traveling. I'm personally traveling. I don't know if you guys are or not.
Nah.
But you guys kind of travel like all over the place.
We've gotten to over the years, yeah. We've gotten to go to the Philippines a couple times, Israel, Turkey. I love traveling. It's my favorite thing in the world to do.
Yeah, some people hate it.
See, I don't get that. I want, and I might take his face off and put it on my face so I can steal his job. Anthony Bourdain. He travels and eats for a living, like everywhere.
And he's a freaking rock star too while he does it.
If he wasn't so cool, I would hate him.
Yeah.
But he's cool, so I don't.
Yeah.
But I love. See, I feel like most people enjoy traveling because of the destination, which is all good and well. But I'm one of the few people who I actually enjoy the process of traveling. I like being in the airport. I like going on planes. I like going. I just like the process as well as the destination. Yeah. You know.
I'm a little bit with you, although sometimes it gets to be too much for me because I do enjoy actually being there and experiencing the culture more. Like when we came back from Turkey
a couple years
ridiculous.
That
it was like 36 hours of airport and travel.
Yeah,
like,
layovers and planes and taxis.
I now know that the Istanbul airport is my favorite airport, other than Hong Kong. So that we spent a lot of 5 hours in Istanbul airport. I think.
What makes it your favorite airport?
Because they had like tons of food. The layout was great. They had like really comfortable chairs. They had like this cool like smoking patio that was like outdoors. And so when you're there for 5 hours, you're like, what the hell am I supposed to do? Like there was a lot of, and same with Hong Kong. Hong Kong has like this sleeping section where they have these awesome recliners,
Hong
like
Kong's
Lazy
a cool
Boy.
airport,
And you just like go over and like lay back in a Lazy Boy and fall asleep. And
actually, like Narita Airport, Tokyo. That one's a nice one too.
Okay, because it's quiet.
It's super quiet.
So the weird thing, we've talked about this before. I've only been to Tokyo. I want to go back and travel more around Japan. But landing in Narita Airport in Tokyo, it was like I was like, what's wrong? Is something going on? Because it was so quiet compared to like any American or other airport. And it's just because the Japanese are like a quieter people, and it was wonderful. I loved it. Like
it was awesome.
For such a crowded city, it did not feel half as crowded as like New York or something.
Yeah, that's awesome. I haven't traveled internationally a whole lot. I've traveled a lot in the United States. Like I've gone to New York and Indianapolis and back east where my parents are in North Carolina. And I've traveled a lot in here, but I wish I want to travel more internationally because I think it's pretty cool. You see different cultures, you see different people. Like I just think that's
one
awesome.
of my favorite things too is first of all I love planning a trip. Like that appeals to me, and like finding the cool places to go. And my other favorite thing is to figure out, to try and learn at least a little bit of the language before I get there.
Yeah.
And then it opens more doors for you. Like I had a hard time, I loved Israel and I want to go back, but it was so hard because since it's not the Roman alphabet, there's no
point of reference.
Exactly. So I can't look at a sign and start to learn. Whereas in Turkey, back in the early 1900s, they changed to a Roman alphabet. And so I learned a little bit of Turkish before I went, and then the more you like see signs, the more you put together like what that means and how you pronounce it and what this letter sounds like. And you make way more friends that way because you like say thank you in Turkish or you ask for water in Turkish and they're like, oh, hello, my friend. And then like, it just makes it a better experience. But
that's really cool.
Yeah.
What about like road trips? Like, do you like road trips?
Road trips are a blast. They're one of those that I feel like kind of has its ups and downs because you're just on the road for a long time with a person or a group of people. So you're bound to have moments where you're just like, either put a bullet in my head or get me out of this car. But there's also like you get to see, especially I think road trips are a uniquely American thing because our country is so gigantic geographically speaking that you can do long road trips. You know, you can spend a week driving across the country, and it's the best way to experience and see the geography, all the cool stuff that the country has to offer. And you have a lot of great conversations. You get to stop off and see sights along the way.
Well, in the little towns that if you're flying you would never see probably because you're going to a larger destination. Or we grew up doing road trips like all the time because our dad would get our parents got a month paid off like when we were little. So sometimes we would get they'd take us out of school or whatever, and we would just go somewhere for a month. And my favorate actually was that train trip that we took
all the way across the southern United States.
Yeah,
that was really cool.
It was rad.
It was rad. Well, unlike a uniquely Southern California experience is the Vegas road trip.
Yes.
And that's a blast. Like, it's a blast going there. Going back is not so much fun. The best way to do it, if you can, is you do the rent a car, do the road trip out there, because the trip out there is a blast. You're laughing and having a good time and joking and going through the desert and all that stuff. And then you get there, but when you're going home, you don't want to spend 5 hours in the car. So
or more, depending on what day you're coming back on. So.
Yeah, Vegas is fun because it's one road. Like if you're in San Diego, you take the 15 till Vegas.
Just stay on the 15. So stop off at Alien Fresh Jerky, get some snacks.
Somebody was asking me like, "Oh, how do you get to Vegas?" I'm like, "If you need to ask how to get to Vegas, you're not old enough to go to Vegas."
Exactly.
That is absolutely true.
Well, and then I like when I do the long road trips, I tend to like to travel like in the middle of the night when there's nobody on the road. But then I was traveling to Utah, and then when the sun was going up, I was in the middle of the desert, and I was like, I gotta pull over because this is awesome. I need to take pictures. And,
that's rad. And it's stuff like that you only see that on a road trip.
Yeah. It's really cool. You can take like we were going to I think it was on the Utah trip too, and there was like the world's largest banana museum next right, and I'm like, I need to see that. So
the world's largest rubber band ball. There's always some wacky ass thing like that. And it's only the middle of the United States. You don't get that on either of the coasts.
Yeah.
It's only when you're driving through the middle.
Mostly, yeah. Although I just did a trip where I flew out to visit my best friend in Boston, and then from Boston we drove up to Prince Edward Island in Canada, and that's like a good, I don't know, it was like 10 hours or something. And so it's not like the crazy museum stops like in Middle America, but there's still some there's some country backwoods New England crazy people, and then you get into Canada, and then it's just all bets are off.
Canadians.
Oh
yeah. When you travel, do you like to plan out each day, or do you just kind of go there and then figure it out when you get there?
I am a planner, just because, especially when you're traveling internationally, like in Europe when I've traveled there and stuff, I personally don't want to be stuck either in some really crappy hostel where I'm going to get herpes from the bed sheets or whatever.
Wow.
And conversely, no, my friend got pink eye I'm not even kidding, from a hostel in Prague. And so we had to go around Prague, which had two horribly nasty. Anyway, so I don't want to get stuck with that, and then conversely, I don't want to get stuck paying a buttload for some American chain like a Hilton. I want to find that cool middle of the road that's very indicative of the country that I'm in. So I like to plan at least where I'm staying, and then have an idea. Because some people just go and they stay wherever they find it. I don't I'm more of a planner than that. And then I like to have an idea of what I want to do, but I don't, you can let
some people have an itinerary every day.
I don't go that
far. I'm with my sister. I like knowing where I'm staying, and we're going to be in this city for 3 days, in this city for 5 days, or whatever. Yeah. And then that's about it. Outside of that, I'll know some of the stuff you can do in that city, but I like to play it by ear.
I'll look up the things that I really want to do.
Right.
And hopefully try and get those done, but then whatever happens along the way as I'm walking to the Hagia Sophia, oh wow, what's this over here?
That's half the fun, and half of the cool discoveries you're going to make in a new place is by just kind of wandering and
getting lost
and going, oh, what's this? Let's go take a look.
That's kind of what we did when we went to San Antonio. It was we go there, and then we kind of knew a little bit what we wanted to do, but then it was, once we got there, we went to the visitor center, and then found all the brochures, oh, we could do this. This is cool. We can go to we can go to their SeaWorld. We can go to Hemisphere Park. What's that? And then, so it was, that was cool. And then I'm going to North Carolina next week, and I have an idea of what I want to do. But once I get there, I'm like, oh, let's see what's going on.
Well, I love asking the locals too. If you're at a restaurant, you ask the waitress, hey, what's your favorite spot to eat, or
I want to experience your city, your town. What do you recommend?
Because same thing. Imagine if someone came up to us and we'd be like, "Oh, dude, ask me about San Diego. I can give you an idea.
Don't do this and this. That's ridiculous. Here are the cool San Diego things to do. Yeah.
Well, and then I went to San Francisco about 5 years ago, and I actually went onto I think it was an ESPN forum for the San Francisco 49ers. And I was like, okay, I'm traveling to San Francisco, and I'm only going to be here for 2 days. What can I do? And then and that was really helpful, because they're like, oh, you're only going to be here for 2 days. You got to see this, 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 and this. And I was like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah, it's perfect.
That's kind of a way to contact the locals.
It's true. It's true. Well, I'm a big. I like guidebooks to a certain extent, and my favorite is Lonely Planet, because I feel like it's basically what the locals think in book form. So I have Lonely Planet things for every place I go to, because I think that has really good suggestions, and so I am kind of
Whenever we go to a new state, my wife person, she goes to the visitor center, and she like grabs every single brochure that they have, and then she like has binders of like each state. It's really organized. She's like, okay, this is this category in this state. This is the restaurants in this state. This is the parks in this state. And it's like, wow. She knows, she has it all planned out, and so
special.
when we went to Georgia, and she's like, okay, this we're going to be able to do this and this and this, and I'm like, how do you even know that that's a thing here?
That's crazy.
Like, well, on page 17 of my binder here.
Clearly, you didn't look at my manual.
Right. Well, and the interwebs have got it figured out too. Like TripAdvisor is pretty bad.
TripAdvisor is awesome.
Yeah.
Because you can figure out like where to stay and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Restaurants. Cool. Yeah. So that is the end of Hourglass. If you like it, subscribe. I'm Rob Davidson.
I'm Carrie.
I'm Allan.
See you next time.
Boom, baby!